Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about Java interfaces and the implements keyword. Interfaces are essentially templates for Java classes. They can define a set of instance variables and methods which classes that implement them must contain. So how do we declare an interface in Java? It's actually very simple and is much less complex than how we declare classes. We begin the declaration with public interface and then the name of the interface. For methods, we declare the method the same way we do in classes. However, since this is just a template, we just don't need to highlight any implementation details and instead just end the declaration with a semicolon. Let's go over how to use an interface in a class now. We're making a class called car in which we want to implement or use the vehicle interface. That means we end the class declaration with implements vehicle. We can have any instance variables we want as well as a constructor. Then we need to include all methods defined in the interface, in this case the turnLeft method. We can now choose to implement the turnLeft method however we want to, since the interface doesn't define that. I personally also like to put the override comment before the implemented method, which doesn't impact how the code runs but is useful to show that this method comes from an interface. Critically, we can now create the car by referring to it as both a car and as a vehicle. But we need to use the car constructor here since vehicle cannot define a constructor. So what's the purpose of using an interface? It allows us to group classes in a way such that their implementation doesn't matter, and therefore makes it easier to switch between two classes in code. For example, we can declare a list myList, and then switch between an array list and a linked list without affecting how the variable myList is referred to. An interesting application of interfaces is the use of comparable, which denotes a class that we can use built-in sort functions on arrays or array lists containing them. In a custom class, we need to implement the comparable interface on that class, and then define in the compareTo method how to compare between two such classes. We return 0 if the two classes compare equal, 1 if this is greater than the other one, and -1 if this is less than the other one. Thank you for watching. The sample code that we used in this video is available at the link in the description and on the screen right now. And as always, I hope you learned something.